Hello, this is your local Peach Angerman, Acorn of that fucking guy here. I am here because I would like to discuss not this Dookie round that I did where I won easily because Dookies is a shit mode, and I am proving it by displaying just how easy it is for a nuclear operatives team to win despite me not even being the most robust player in existence or anything. When you just have a plan that isn't fucking war ops. But basically, let's talk about the thing that I actually want to talk about. AI depreciation. For the unaware, Forky E, which is just Funky Station but redone, which to those unaware, Funky Station is doing a rebasing to WizDen slash Macrocosm. I don't know what the fuck Macrocosm is, but essentially they're changing the origin of most of their code because Goob code is shit. There's no good way to say it. Goob code has a lot of AI generated code made from people paid to make the code, which, for reference, isn't a bad thing. But eventually, there'll become people who just make the code to get paid, and then don't care about like maintaining it at all. So it gets depreciated and shit and whatever, and it just ends up kind of being bad. Which again, for certain things like adding sprites or whatever, can be done by just anyone. The difference is when that work is done by someone who is just doing it for the dollar and wants to move on, they move fast, they make sloppy code, shit like that, right? So they're rebasing back to back Crossovers to WizDead, and during that, they're reevaluating every single like change to the game that has been made in recent times, and especially thinking of every single thing that every other server has done that they've just ported because every other server is doing this. So what they're doing now is reevaluating every single thing added to the game. This includes salvage changes, which are being recontextualized as a prisoner thing for a lot of reasons that I don't care about. Because I've had a million people ask me like why they're doing that, but like if it doesn't take a genius to determine that salvage is pretty unhealthy. And if you aren't aware, then you probably don't play the game enough, or are just unaware of how salvage kind of fucks with the sec crew relationship. Which, if you'd like a video on that, sure. But like, I don't think it's very interesting to talk about. What I do find interesting to talk about, though, is the AI. See, the station AI was one of those features that a lot of people were really, really excited for, because it's a popular role, and it changes how the entire game, like, works and flows. And this is true. The station AI has changed how the game has flowed entirely. However, in Funky Station exclusively, again, this is not a WizDead thing, this is just Funky Station, they are removing the AI from the rebase for a variety of reasons. I'm going to go over their, like, reasonings behind it first, which, to be fair, is a shorthand of, like, things that they just wrote up. They don't have, like, a full design doc for this yet, which I'm not sure about making such sweeping changes without a formal, like, design doc of why they're doing this, how it changes the game, how it improves, shit like that, but, like, whatever. These are volunteers, whatever, you know? Volunteers do volunteer work, and it's pretty good volunteer work. So, you know what? Let's not bitch about it. So, let's get into it. I will be paraphrasing it, because if I read off all of it, this video will get boring and basic. So, I'll try and paraphrase it as best I can, and let's just get into this, shall we? In the past, we had a job called Blue Shield Officer that served as a bodyguard to command personnel. It was removed because it had literally nothing else besides valid hunting as its modus operandi. Basically, they're arguing that the station AI is in the same situation as BSO, where literally all it does is just hunt antags and nothing else. This is something that I do agree with. I do agree that BSO has the same issues as Station AI. This isn't an original idea I've had. Like, this is something I'm taking from the AI depreciation document. Because the second I saw that, I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, they're right about that. They put into words something that I couldn't. A feeling I had that I couldn't. But basically, they think BSO shares the same problem as the Station AI, where they both stop antag activity without consideration of space law, which is the main restrictive force on security that prevents them from just curb stomping every AI and making the round fucking boring. In addition to the issues, players still exploit lost sets in other ways in order to valid hunt. Where cruise buff was default, it was not uncommon for AI players to use a very liberal definition of the word harm to smother any hint of anti activity. While this would normally be an admin issue, which I agree with, the fact that a job exists with this level of power to abuse against antagonists is in and of itself problematic. Now, I agree with this, and some people are going to say, oh, but cyborgs do the exact same thing. Why are they being removed? And they actually do acknowledge it. While these issues exist to some degree with cyborgs, they're significantly worse with AI. If a cyborg is violating its laws, it can be dealt with in character by destroying it, writing off its faulty, doing any other number of things. Again, if a cyborg sees an antag doing something, the antag could just kill the cyborg. Or write it off in some other way. Fuck with it, like its laws being fucked or whatever. If a station AI is violating its laws, the only feasible way of stopping it without round removing it is admin intervention. If someone does have a good reason to round remove station AI, it's shut off in the most secure part of the station with defenses capable of killing heavily armored targets. They say one of the most secure parts? No, it is the most secure part. No other spot on the station has automated fucking turrets defending it. It is the most defended part of the station. I have no further notes on this, so let's just move on. The station AI has access to the command radio channel. This is fine for Wisden, where confidential information being conveyed over that channel is about keeping the crew safe. However, on Funky Station, this involves corporate secrets, which the AI is not aware of at all and often conflicts with the common interpretations of their laws. This means that almost anything confidential cannot be discussed over command, and any in-person meetings involve unwrenching any hollow pad in the room. Not only does it not make sense for NT to make an AI primed to leak confidential information the moment it overhears it, it cheapens the roleplay potential gained from someone outside command gaining access to the channel, as it's barely used for anything scandalous. For those unaware, corporate secrets is a thing on Funky Station where the antags are unknown to the crew, unknown to security, partially, and fully known to the command members. This is because Funky Stations try to go for like a whole class divide thing where the crew can organically revolt upon realizing that they've been lied to and are in fact in extreme danger from like whatever shit is happening on board an NT station involving, you know, changelings, fucking the blood cults, the anything basically. This is something that is unique to Funky Station, I believe, and as such, this being like messed with and uninvolved in the command channel because of the station AI, this does in fact represent a very, very major problem with the server. If you haven't played it, I don't really know how else to describe it to you, but command comms is essentially worthless as an antag because they don't talk about anything that actually matters on there. So, command channel being leaking, no one cares. And the command channel being leaked should be something that matters. I had no other notes on this, so let's move on. In addition to this, the station AI often kills what would be crew member to crew member interaction in favor of simply having it done by an off-camera machine. For example, if someone has a valid reason to get into a room they don't have access to, they just tell the station AI to open the door opens. If the AI didn't exist, that person could instead hunt down someone who does have access and convince them to let them in, or an engineer to hack the door for them, or a Borg. While this might seem like a relatively minor change, or even just tedium, it lends itself more to interaction than just AI open door. Now, I personally don't really find this to be a very compelling point. I still agree with it, like depreciating the AI and removing it. I don't agree that the decision of whether or not to open a door will add in that much to the game. I don't know. I've been wrong about it before, but like what I imagine happening is, okay, just go to a fucking like intercom, say Borg open door, come here, Borg comes and does it. I don't think that'll really change much, but maybe the fact that it's being announced on common or another kind of type of radio might lend itself more to security getting involved. But I don't know. I don't find this to be a very convincing point, but I don't find it to be unconvincing, I guess. So I'll call it a moot point. Next point. Removing AI has been discussed at length, with several people advocating for it to simply be nerfed in some way to alleviate these issues. However, the AI has issues at the very core of its gameplay. As long as there's a character that is able to see most of the station the way the AI does, any attempt from an antagonist to stealth can be hard countered by a near untouchable observer snitching on them. No matter how many nerfs the station AI gets, it will simply be able to do this no matter what. There's also a discussion around reinventing the concept of AI entirely, making it some kind of drone or making it something else that's fundamentally different. However, these concepts assume that something that resembles the station AI in any capacity has some kind of load-bearing feature for the game. In fact, everything the AI does is something another job already does, so removing it would not require changes to any part of the game to maintain cohesion. And that is, I believe, the end of this, this shorthand, yeah. So, I do agree with removing the AI, and I agree with these points. However, I will say there's a couple other questions I'd like to ask you, the viewer, to see what you think. And let me know if you want to answer in the comments down below, because I do genuinely not know, what, the answers to these questions. And maybe I'm just stupid. I don't know. So, let's first question, I guess. What the fuck does the AI actually add? Genuinely. In a round, besides having a traitor end up, emagging the thing, going over and taking over the whole station with it, or the nuke he's using it to win even harder than they already do, what does an AI actually do in a proper round that isn't just cucking whichever AI is whichever antag is currently in business? What do they do? For reference, all I've seen AIs capable of doing is bolting doors to be annoying, which is again just antag hunting. Pissing someone off by intentionally abusing their laws to be annoying, which is just griefing. And also occasionally throwing up metal foam out of fucking nowhere, which is just intruding on engineering. Which, again, everything the AI does is something another job already does. Opening all of this shit is something another thing already does. 2. Next question, I guess. What the fuck does the AI... why... Sorry, let me rephrase this. Why the fuck does the AI get to be the strongest antagonist sabotage option? For reference, if you play AI a lot, you are basically incentivized to not defend yourself from, fucking doing anything to prevent someone from taking over your internal systems and changing your laws. This isn't a law thing or a rules thing, it's a gameplay thing, because the AI, 90% of the time, isn't doing dick all unless they're going out of their way to be fucking annoying. So, when the AI is just exclusively being annoying, not being annoying, why would they, or not doing anything, why would they be encouraged to actively stop the antagonist from sabotaging them to make their round more interesting? It's the same problem that Revolutionaries has in its current form, where the Revolutionaries are basically encouraged to not sell out the antagonist of the round because they get to be that antagonist too. With Blood Cult and Cosmic Cult, there is a level of genuine threat to this, because their deconversion method is usually all out war or painful, and their conversion method might just result in them dying. Same with Heretic. The Cosmic Cult will eventually go loud. The Blood Cult isn't getting removed because it's shitty AI code, apparently. Which, thank God. But, with the AI, what's the incentive? Why would they bother stopping themselves from just going out and letting the anti-convert them to make their round more interesting? Seriously, what's stopping them? And don't just say, oh, the admins will do it, because asking an admin to police that when the laws are already completely up to the interpretation of the AI player is another problem. And I guess that's the third question. How the fuck is anyone supposed to admin this fucking role? For reference, Funky Station has a custom law set which allows them to basically ignore crew commands if they feel like it. And I've already seen a million Borgs just go out of their way to be as fucking annoying as possible with it. AI players also do this. And they'll just go out of their way to ignore crew orders to do some dumb shit. And I'm all for, you know, players having fun, doing whatever they want, interpreting their laws however they want. That's fine. The problem is, where's the line? Because as an admin, how do you draw a line? Do you draw a line that, oh, well, a Borg isn't supposed to commit direct harm? Okay, but then a Borg isn't allowed to fight a Nukie who is directly trying to nuke the station. That doesn't make any fucking sense. It's an NT-Borg. Of course it should be allowed to fight the Nukies. Okay, but what if they're allowed to commit direct harm? What's stopping a Borg from just going and killing the fucking thief that's stealing Cap's ID? Because, oh, they've been identified as non-crew. Borgs are allowed to hit non-crew. That guy just committed crew harm against something or whatever. Again, it's like it's like a government. It's like the laws. Vagueness is the enemy. And I mean, when I mean laws, I mean like real life laws. Vagueness is the enemy. The more vague it is, the harder it is for an admin to develop. And eventually, some new player is going to come in going, oh, okay, I'm going to do this action, which violates the rules. And an admin's going to be like, actually, that violates the rules. You did this wrong, but that's not part of the rules. But you did. And they're both going to go, and be confused. And I know you could say, just write the rules more clearly. Funky Station's rules are already multiple fucking essay length. And I'll be real, nobody reads them. People still think there's a self-antag rule on Funky Station and yell at me when I decide to fucking free a perma-prisoner that they're ignoring my right to a trial for. I'm not self-antagging because there's no self-antag rule. And as a lawyer, if my client isn't being given the basic fucking decency of having a private meeting with his lawyer, which space law lists is a thing, I am perfectly allowed to escalate to freeing them from perma as escalation. That's the rule. But people already don't read the rules. And before you say, oh, it's just a player problem, be real. How many of you can remember the rules of the server you play on beyond a general vague idea? And the answer is basically none of you. It's straight up, basically none of you. None of you can remember them. I don't even have to draw this as like a fucking fact or bring up a statistic. I know it's a fucking fact because that's just how it is. It's the reality of the situation. People barely read the rules of the server they play on, and trying to act like, oh, just make the rules better will make that problem worse. The rules need to be shorter, not longer. Okay. Yeah, that is pretty much every reason why the station AI is being removed. Now, for fairness, I will bring up a response to a couple of counterpoints I imagine you guys presenting me in the comments below, which probably were counterpoints. Frankly, if enough interesting discussion happens down there, I am completely down to make a follow-up video to this video, talking about counters to this point, because I think this is a really interesting debate, because removing this role is not a very cut and dry thing like removing BSO was. Now, I'm going to start with, I think, what is probably the strongest argument for keeping the station AI around, which is a very, very simple argument. People like playing the station AI. And before you say, oh, that's just a cop-out answer, no, that is, in my opinion, genuinely the strongest argument to keep a role around. And I'll explain why I don't think that's a good argument and why I don't think it really applies well to the station AI by using BSO as an example. Because again, I do really, really think the BSO is a really, really good representation of every problem station AI has, because it's nearly a one-to-one mirror. BSO was created because people like the idea of playing a bodyguard role for a command member. And the idea was the captain being an extraordinarily important person on the station and for NT, and also maybe the CC VIPs existing, but mostly the captain, and them also having the nuke disc, and nukies existing means that the captain should have a personal bodyguard. Now, this is a pretty good idea. It's a basic, very natural thing for someone to come to. However, the problem with the BSO is everything they took away. For reference, the captain being a target is a really, really important thing for the game to flow. The captain being a target for syndicate agents is important. If the captain goes alone into, like, fucking Narnia or some shit, that's important because that's a poor decision they made and they get punished for it by an anti taking their shit. Again, very, very natural conclusion that one could come to based on the circumstances of a round. BSO ruins that because the BSO automatically creates a situation where the captain wins. So problem 2, space law, as mentioned earlier, and I'm not going to mention that often, is meant to counteract security just fucking up every anti and curb stopping everyone and prevent them from perma bringing every Cindy, resulting in a boring fucking round. And while they do that anyways, for fuck's sake, I do think there is a lot to go off of here where the BSO completely ignores all space law allocations and takes away the lawyer's job, the magistrate's job, the warden's job somewhat, and every single person who wants to get involved in any sort of like trial system or law roleplay, because they're just allowed to just kill the antag. They're completely allowed to. They're allowed to completely ignore space law to go unga bunga kill antag. And that's far more boring for everyone involved, security especially. Key note, the argument from earlier, where, guess what happened? The station AI interrupts the syndicates, and there's no restriction on how much they're able to interrupt. They just kind of fuck it all up. That's the comparison there. So the problem with anyone saying that playing AI is fun is, I agree. Playing AI is fun. I like playing AI. Hell, I had fun with it. The problem is, in the hands of a player who wants to actively just be fucking annoying, there's no real recourse. And before you say, oh, admin issue, making something an admin issue is, again, something else the admins have to deal with, which is, again, a gigantic fucking problem. Because the admins already have a billion fucking problems to deal with, and they don't need policing a very volatile role on their checklist. And for those who don't believe me about the BSO being like as much of a problem as like everyone thought, I was investigating a thing where some guy in Funky Station's Discord was saying that like the admins weren't properly handling someone being like fucking racist. I checked, the guy wasn't being racist, the guy was just kind of being fucking like a drama queen over it. But by me accidentally like investigating this, I found a fucking BSO power gaming and taking over security because they felt like it. And telling security what to do. Because they're a role that's allowed to ignore space law, and when they feel like that, they're just going to go through and ignore space law. So yeah, that's why just because the AI is fun, we can't ignore all the damage it causes to the normal station flow and every other role. Moving on to the next point. I'm just going to mix all the expected answer of AI has always been part of the game to it's iconic to it's required or whatever into one thing. There is a reason Funky Station is trying to reevaluate every single thing that SS13 did. And I'm just going to say here, SS13 is actively fucking dying. I hate that I have to say that, but it's dying for a lot of fucking reasons, but there's a lifespan on 14 and 13. 14's is just beginning. 13's is kind of ending. And just doing whatever 13 did because, oh hey, 13 did it, so it must be good, will inevitably result in the same problems that 13 had, manifesting all over again. So, just because anyone actually, like, goes through and goes, oh, well, fucking, you know, yeah, this 13 have it, we should have it too, is not a proper argument for keeping it around. Again, BSO was around for fucking forever. We removed BSO, shit immediately improved. Hell, breed comms was once considered to be a completely non-optional required feature of Space Station, and I made an entire video where I thought removing like green comms or common radio on headsets would be a terrible decision that would ruin the game. I was wrong. That decision helped a lot. It made the game a lot better. And that's another counterpoint to this. Let's just try it. You know? It's not like we're just deleting its code and putting it into a hard drive and throwing it into the ether. We can just re-port in the AI. Hell, I imagine most map makers, because they don't want to like work their way around an AI, re-adding an AI, will just code in the AI, or like make the AI part of the map very like decrepit and shit. Like most maps that I've had to remove and replace an apartment will just make it a decrepit shell of itself to move it. That's what Core Station did, and hey, it worked out pretty well. So yeah, just because it's been around forever doesn't mean we're gonna keep it. Straight up. Now, another argument that I anticipate people saying, and another honestly good argument, is that we shouldn't be punishing the good players of AI for the bad ones, and essentially removing it is a punishment. Now, I will admit that this does hurt the people who weren't abusing AI, who in fact play AI in a way that made the round more fun. The problem is, there shouldn't be a role that is untouchable while also being able to be a dick. For reference, if you're a dick as a sec-off, you can just go and murder the sec-off. Is it easy? No. Is it possible though? Yeah. You could just set a trap in main stage V-grill. You could fuck with them other ways. You could do whatever. To meaningfully fuck with an AI, you again have to break into the most important part of the station. We brought up this point earlier, but I just want to highlight here. It's the being a dick part. Funky Station is a server that explicitly allows corrupt as shit command members and corrupt as shit security officers. And Forky is going to double down on this. To what extent and whether that was successful, might make a video on that, but I'd have to gather the arguments from Tadio, because I don't want to do the thing where I just talk about something and then, without giving them a chance to explain, like, what their perspective on it is. So, you know, I'm not going to do that, but if I do end up doing that, maybe I'll make a video on it, you know? It's a good video. But, basically, if Haas is a dick, you can go fuck up their office. You can go murder them in mains. You can go fucking stab them, or whatever. If the captain is a dick, you can do the same thing in your office. You can go get internal affairs involved, whatever. If a security officer is a dick, you can get their boss involved. You can do a whole bunch of different things. You can poison their drinks, all that shit, right? There's a lot of meaningful ways to interact with crew v crew, like, stuff. If you hate someone else on the station, there's a lot of ways you can fuck with them besides just round removing them. And that is important. Because being a dick should open you up to someone being a dick right back. Which is a good, natural, intentional part of the game's systems. And what Funky Station is going for. The problem is, every single person that wants to be a dick as an AI is just doing it because they're a fucking asshole. Because there's no meaningful way for someone to back out and reproach the AI. There's no way, for reference, I play PC Android like a dick because I like inter-person conflict. I like fucking with someone else and just like being and just like fucking around. I like that shit. It's fun. The problem is, AI fucking with someone, there's no recourse to the other person, so they're just being a dick with it. And I don't really think there's any argument that an AI going out of their way to annoy someone is just being a dick. There's no way for them to retaliate. There's no way for them to properly hit back. Which means, it's getting pretty fucking close to a Rule Zero violation, where you're just being a dick for no reason. Yeah. That is my thoughts on the station AI's removal. Let me know what you think in the comments, because I would, if there's a lot of good discussion there, I might just straight up make a follow-up video to this. I don't know. I think it's a very interesting topic to remove one of the, like, quote-unquote iconic roles from the game. Thank you to my channel members: Darpo, SpinXD, Dava the Spider, Silent the Great Gamer, Brady Paws, Loxera, Seth Myers, Trash Queen Lily, Kyriak, Quapiera, Mr. XT Awesome, Store, Loltart, Flood Domo, Halo Warzone, Aspertine the First, Full Paradox, The Rose of Katarina, Nox ZL, Biff, Taken Sever, Modern Jedi, Dubbo, Just a Period, Plansick, Henlo, Wakefield H, Interfaith Disc, Some Kitty Cat, Northstar, and Phil Bentimo. You can support the show down below. And I also like to give a quick shout out. Do I do this? Yeah, I do this. Tadio recently talked in an admin meeting about potential not a server shutdown. I imagine it'll probably be fine, but Funky Station takes a lot of money to run. It takes server infrastructure, it takes forums infrastructure, it takes authentication infrastructure, all that shit, right? It takes a lot of juice and money to keep the shit running. So if you like Funky Station, consider sending Tadio some money, because Tadio's been taking a loss on running Funky Station, and they're not selling anti-tokens or unbans or whatever, except for that one time. And the server should keep running. I don't think it's that much to ask to just send Tadio a couple of bucks if you really, really like Funky Station, Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you, and goodbye.